The press conference in Las Vegas crackled with tension as Gervonta, Tank Davis, and Lamont Roach Jr. faced off ahead of their highly anticipated rematch. The air was thick with anticipation, the stakes palpable for both fighters. Their first encounter, a controversial majority draw on March 1st, had left fans and analysts clamoring for a second showdown to settle the score. For Tank, a five-time, three-division world champion, the draw was a rare blemish on a career defined by knockouts and dominance. For Roach, it was a moment of vindication, proof that he could hang with one of boxing's biggest stars, though he believed the judges and boxing officials robbed him of a career-defining victory. As the two sat at the high table, flanked by their teams, the intensity was undeniable. This wasn't just a rematch, it was a chance for redemption, revenge, and a shot at cementing their legacies. Tank Davis, known for his explosive power and charismatic presence, carried an uncharacteristic seriousness. His usual swagger was tempered by a focus that suggested he'd learned from the first fight. The draw had stung, and he wasn't shy about admitting it. "Nobody likes a draw, you know, from a guy that gets knockouts and things like that," he said, reflecting on the outcome. For a fighter who had only gone the distance twice in his career, the result was a wake-up call. He spoke of losing track of the rounds during the fight, a rare admission of a tactical misstep. But now, with the rematch set for August 16th, Tank was determined to unleash what he called the beast locked inside him. His words carried a promise of violence, a vow to prove that the first fight was an anomaly. "I'm going to chop, bob, and weave," he declared. "I'm going to end it in the 9th round. I like to show people they aren't who they say they are." Lamont Roach, by contrast, was calm and composed, his words measured but confident. He didn't need to match Tank's bravado to make his point. When he took the podium, he kept it brief, thanking those in attendance and promising an even better performance than the first. "I know I faced the best version of Tank in the first fight, but I hope he becomes even better," Roach said, his tone laced with quiet defiance. "I'm ready for whatever he brings on fight night, and trust me, I'm going to bring more." His response to Tank's compliments about his skills was equally poised. "I take that compliment very well," he said. "It lets me know he's 100% focused, and that's what's going to make it a great fight." Roach's demeanor suggested a fighter who knew his worth, who had already proven he could stand toe-to-toe with a superstar and was ready to do it again. The first fight had been a revelation for many. Tank, the heavy favorite, was expected to steamroll Roach, a respected but undersized champion in a lower weight class. Yet Roach fought with the heart of a lion, defying expectations from the opening bell. He boxed beautifully from the outside, using his jab to keep Tank at bay. When forced to fight on the inside, he held his own, trading blows with a ferocity that stunned the Brooklyn crowd at Barclays Center. Roach's warrior chin absorbed Tank's best punches, and at one point, he even rocked the champion with a sharp hook. By the time the final bell rang, the arena buzzed with uncertainty. Fans had witnessed 36 minutes of high-level boxing, but no one was sure who had won. The judges' scorecards delivered a majority draw, a decision that left Team Davis reeling and Roach feeling cheated. For Tank, it was the first time in his professional career that he left the ring without a victory. For Roach, it was a bittersweet moment, believing he'd done enough to claim the biggest win of his career. The controversy surrounding the first fight only added fuel to the rematch. Roach's camp, along with many fans, believed the judges, referee, World Boxing Association, and New York State Athletic Commission had conspired to deny him the victory. The draw, they argued, was a product of foul play, a moment of carelessness from boxing's often criticized officiating. Roach's team felt he was the true winner, and the rematch was his chance to right that wrong. "If there's going to be revenge, it should come from Lamont Roach," one observer noted, pointing to the perceived injustice. Roach himself didn't dwell on the controversy, focusing instead on what he needed to do differently. "It's going to be based on my training camp," he said when asked how to avoid another close decision. "I have to push myself a little harder. I definitely have room to improve." Tank's team, meanwhile, acknowledged the challenge Roach presented. Leonard Ellerby, one of the most vocal members of Davis's camp, was candid about the first fight. He claimed Tank was disturbed during that period, dealing with personal issues that affected his performance. "The Tank in March wasn't the raw Tank," Ellerby said. "That was a disturbed Tank. It was that period he needed us around him, but we were too busy." He emphasized the team's renewed unity, suggesting that this rematch would showcase a revitalized Davis. "This isn't just the second coming of Tank," Ellerby declared. "This is all of us coming back in unity. I doubt Lamont can hear the bell when he feels the heat." His words were a direct challenge to Roach, implying that the underdog wouldn't withstand the full force of a focused Tank. Roach didn't take the bait, responding to Ellerby's comments with a cool-headed jab of his own. "I just be in my element," he said when asked about his approach to press conferences. "9 times out of 10, I'm thinking about the fight and what I'm going to do." His focus remained on the task at hand, undeterred by the noise from Tank's camp. Roach's confidence stemmed from his performance in the first fight, where he proved he could match Tank's skill and ring IQ. His ability to stay in the pocket, absorbing punishment and firing back, made him a unique challenge for Davis, who was accustomed to opponents wilting under his power. "Lamont loves to stay in the eye of the storm," one analyst noted, highlighting the danger he posed to Tank's knockout-heavy style. The rematch also carried the tantalizing possibility of a trilogy, a rarity for Tank, who had never fought a rematch until now. Throughout his career, there had been rumors of second fights with opponents like Ryan Garcia or Isaac "Pitbull" Cruz, but nothing materialized until Roach defied the odds. The first fight's competitiveness, combined with the controversial outcome, made a third fight a realistic prospect. Both fighters shared a history that added layers to their rivalry. They had faced off twice in the amateurs, with Tank winning both bouts. But as Roach pointed out, the professional stage was different. "It's a big difference fighting each other in the amateurs and fighting now," he said. "We've both evolved and gotten better." Their shared DMV roots, Tank from Baltimore, Roach from nearby Washington, D.C., added a regional pride to the matchup. "In that DMV area, there's a lot of talent, and nobody wants to lose," Roach explained. "We know each other's strengths. We know each other's secrets." Social media buzzed with debate over who would emerge victorious in the rematch. Some fans sided with Roach, pointing to his performance in the first fight. One ex-user posted photos from the March bout, declaring, "Roach is beating that guy again, mate." Another shared a gif of a cockroach wielding a lightsaber, a playful nod to Roach's resilience. Others backed Tank, believing he would make the necessary adjustments. "I thought Roach won the first fight 115-113, one fan wrote, "but I think Tank will KO him in the later rounds." The hype was building, fueled by the fighters' contrasting styles and the unresolved tension from their first encounter. Tank's knockout power was legendary, but Roach's durability and technical prowess made him a formidable opponent. "If Tank relies on his power, it might do him no good," one observer warned. "He needs to box and find a way to win by boxing." The first fight had been a tactical chess match, with Roach surprising many by outboxing Tank from the outside early on. When Davis closed the distance, Roach adapted, showing he could brawl as well as he could box. The draw left both fighters with something to prove. For Tank, it was about reasserting his dominance and erasing the memory of a night when he couldn't finish his opponent. For Roach, it was about capitalizing on his momentum and proving that the first fight wasn't a fluke. "I shouldn't be here if I didn't believe I'm going to win," Roach had said before the first fight. "I've hurt everybody I've been in the ring with, and this won't be any different." His confidence carried over to the rematch, bolstered by the knowledge that he'd already gone 12 rounds with one of the sport's biggest stars and emerged unscathed. Tank's team, led by Ellerby and trainer Calvin Ford, believed the first fight exposed flaws they could correct. Ford, who had taken a back seat to Barry Hunter in the first fight, was back at the forefront, emphasizing strategy and discipline. "There were opportunities on the inside we should have took advantage of," Ford said, reflecting on the draw. Hunter, meanwhile, insisted that Tank had pulled ahead in the final rounds. "Down the stretch, the last 2 rounds sealed the deal," he told reporters. "I thought we pulled it off." The team's confidence in Tank's ability to adapt was evident, but they also acknowledged Roach's skill. "Lamont Roach was never a cheat day," Hunter said. "We knew it was going to be a hard fight." As the rematch approached, both fighters were laser-focused. Tank spoke of taking only a week off before diving back into training, a sign of his determination to avoid another draw. Roach, meanwhile, was already looking ahead to what he needed to do differently. "I have to push myself a little harder," he said, acknowledging the fine margins that separated them in the first fight. The boxing world was abuzz with anticipation, with fans and analysts split on the outcome. Some saw Tank's power and renewed focus as the deciding factors, while others believed Roach's durability and ring craft would carry him to victory. The rematch promised to be a clash of wills, a battle between two fighters at the peak of their powers, each with something to prove. The press conference set the stage for what could be one of the defining fights of the year. Tank's promise to ruin a wig, and Roach's quiet assurance that he'd bring even more to the table underscored the stakes. This wasn't just about a win or a loss, it was about legacy, pride, and settling a score that had left both fighters unsatisfied. As August 16th drew closer, the boxing world waited to see whether Tank would reclaim his aura of invincibility or if Roach would pull off the upset of a lifetime. One thing was certain: when two dogs step into the ring, as Roach put it, only one would come out victorious.